Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Friends of Mortgage Heroes. I'm Andy Cruz, and with me today, I have two of my friends in insurance. We have Irune and we have Claudia here. They both represent different insurance companies. Irune has a farmer's agency, and Claudia is here with State Farm. And today, we're going to specifically tackle the insurance plague of California. That's just my name. That's not their name, so don't come at them. We're going to talk about the insurance woes plaguing the state, but also we're going to specifically talk about some agency things, some specific things to you two as professionals in this space and clientele and what you're working on right now, and then areas of opportunity for people that they should know about that maybe because of this veil of problems that are happening with people, their carriers leaving the state and non-renewal issues, maybe there's some opportunities that are bypassing people that we should take a pit stop and talk about and explore. So I'm really grateful to you both being here. Thank you for joining me today. Without further ado, let's just get right into some of the nuts and the bolts and let's kind of set the stage a little bit. So, Irune, why don't you tell us a little bit about tell us about your experience in insurance, tell us about your agency, how long you've been doing this, tell us all about farmers real quick.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for having me. I've been an insurance agent in California for about 13 years. I did start with State Farm 13 years ago, but I've also had the opportunity to work with other carriers like State Farm and AAA. So, and I've mostly been in the South Bay. I did grow up here, and I've been in this area, and I've also been part of Tijuana and all that. So I do have that cross-border mentality.
Yeah.
And so I'm perfectly bilingual, so I can take care of my clients in both,
Very good.
Spanish.
And is your service area just San Diego, or is it all California, Southern California?
Yeah, I can write business in the whole state of California.
Okay, great. All right. And Claudia, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your experience in insurance. And I know you have your own agency down here in Bonita. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I started in the insurance industry back in 2017. So I've been about roughly 8 years. I started as a team member out in Imperial Valley, with State Farm, and I fell in love with insurance, everything about it, the knowledge, the helping customers. So I immediately knew I wanted to be an agent myself. So I got the opportunity to come to San Diego. I came to San Diego, opened up my agency in Bonita, and I now service all of California and Arizona. So with the plague, if we're going to call it, obviously I knew that I had to do something for my agency, so we expanded to Arizona. Arizona is still an open state, so there's not the regulations that are going on in California, so we are offering everything completely opened in that state.
Oh, wow. So it was California only, and now it's California and Arizona.
So licensed in both states.
Got it.
The only one that's closed, if we want to talk about the fire part of things, is California. Arizona is still open.
Arizona is still open. Okay. Well, that's already leading us into a direction where there's area of opportunity. So in general, it's probably too vague to say PNC is the primary kind of service product, right? Property and casualty, and then auto.
For the most part, depending what your forte in your office is, PNC is kind of what we're known for, but that's not all that is available.
Right, and same with you too, right? It's kind of everyone just frames farmers, property and casualty. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing
or two.
Yeah.
Farmers is still focusing mainly on PNC. The good thing is that we haven't closed out on new business. So the thing that's a little bit different about farmers is that if they don't approve something, we do have other carriers that are approved by farmers that we can still use.
Okay.
So we do have other options. So even if something is a no with farmers, we have other ways of helping people. A
second or third choice.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, well that's already kind of the next thing I wanted to talk about, just the state of things. Let's address kind of the state of the union for insurance in your respective. So as the industry as a whole, let's talk about that, and then let's talk about what it means for State Farm, what it means for farmers. So, in your words, what would you describe kind of the state of insurance in California in 2024 so far?
Well, it's been such a roller coaster, right? Beginning from 2023, now moving forward to 2024. And in reality, this is all coming down from the state itself. So a lot of times some customers would get like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you not giving me insurance? And it's never been something that the companies, right, has been wanting to do. This comes from the state itself. I mean, the companies have been wanting to get some rate increases from the state years back, with all the wildfires. And it's never been done before, and it had never been approved by the commissioners, because there's a commissioner, there's a big papa out there who kind of runs everything, right? And so it comes a lot from that and not the actual companies. But the companies said, hey, we've been asking for this for quite some time, and at this point, we're under.
So real quick before we go further, I want to ask this question because I think that it's probably, I know it's something I've thought of, and I know other people have either thought of it and verbalized it. Like, how is that not just scapegoating the state, right, and making it their fault? I know that there's a reason behind this, but why don't you explain in your own words a little bit why? Okay, it might sound to the common listener like, oh, that's easy. You're just passing the buck on to the state, but maybe going a little bit more specific is what is not happening with the state that you would need to have happen.
Well, the state in general is really what controls everything, right? There's just like every industry has the people up at the top who are looking at numbers, who are the ones that approve certain things that the companies are requesting or requiring for them to stay within the state so that they continue to be able to offer the insurance. So our companies will go and they'll say, hey, based off our numbers, based off the claims, based off the inflation, this is how much my company needs to increase prices for our consumers. And then the state will push back and say, negative. We are not going to approve any of that. And it's happened for quite some time now that the companies aren't being able to sustain. So our insurance companies have an insurer in the back. Right?
A reinsurer.
A reinsurer. So we are insured by somebody else. Our reinsurers stated, we're out. Right?
Wow. So you're getting squeezed from the top and the bottom falls out too.
If this continues or the way it has been trending, we are out and we're no longer going to be your reinsurer in this state.
Yeah.
So when they pulled out, State Farm, is one of the largest companies. I believe 1 in every 5 vehicles is insured by State Farm. State Farm said, if my reinsurer pulled out, what does that look like for me? Correct? And the worst thing that you want is to be insured by a company that's not solvent. And we want to continue on that trend. We want to continue being an A insurance company. So we're kind of graded, right?
Yeah.
So we want to continue to be an A insurance. And if we want to continue to be on that trend, we need to make sure that we're there to support the customers when they need it.
Right. There's kind of like that like sweet spot where it's like, okay, we're here to cover you in the case of there's a problem, but we also need to have enough going right so that when you do have a problem, we're there for you. It's this, kind of symbiotic relationship. So I'm sure you can probably echo a lot of that from the state side. Is there any other things you've noticed about the state specifically? To me, if I were to summarize this, I'm hearing, okay, listen, we have costs that are running way further ahead than our ability to rebuild the people we have. And by the way, the people who have our back don't have our back anymore. Is that like an adequate summation, do you think?
Yeah, so a little bit how Claudia said, yes, we have an insurance California Insurance Department is who regulates all the insurance companies. We do have a insurance commissioner that has to approve all those rate increases. And from my understanding, the rate increases, they get submitted and then they get approved and
approved or not approved.
Approved or not approved, yeah.
And from my understanding, so they got put a little bit on hold due to COVID. So we are seeing a little bit of that aftermath. And so barely 2023 was when things started to get approved. So we're still a little backed up on those approvals. So with that being said, I think that can kind of give people a heads up that if they are upset about increases now, they could kind of expect more increases because this increase is not enough to make up for the increases that we're supposed to get approved.
You're still chasing it.
Right.
Yeah, 2020, 2021, and 2022. So we barely got some stuff approved 2023. So that's still not enough to make up for, all the losses we had. And it's all about solvency. An insurance company has to be solvent enough to be able to pay out all of their insured's claims, like all the policies they have on the books, like if it's a total loss.
Okay, so that's another thing I think a lot of people don't know, right? Is there's a requirement for you to maintain solvency in order to actually actively offer policies and services in the state. So the insurance commission, the insurance commissioner basically has this like backstop. You must meet these certain solvency requirements.
Correct.
And then you're saying, hey, we can't meet these solvency requirements unless we're really able to increase our fees this much. They go, oh, you can't increase your fees that much. So I very much understand that you're kind of being cornered, or I'll say not cornered, let's say boxed in.
Yeah,
let's say you're boxed in a little bit.
Tied.
And your hands are a little tied.
Yeah.
And I get that because I also remember there's a limit to how much increase you can ask and for what frequency you can ask. I think it's every 6 months you can ask for up to 7% premium increase, right? Is that right?
Well, things have changed a little. I mean, I don't know the exact percentage that or the way that they can actually ask for the increases, but the way that things have been going and in the trend that we're in, a lot of companies are saying like, I need 20, I need 30.
That's the question. Like, it's a math problem at some point, because if you're chasing down a 20% cost increase on replacement and you can only increase your rate by, let's say 7%, you're still down 13, and then you can't request a rate increase for another 6 months.
Right.
But at that point, even if you get another 7 increase or whatever, now you're still chasing.
Right. And a lot of people don't understand is this, COVID had a ripple effect in many, many ways, right? Remember when COVID happened, shipments weren't coming in.
Right, yeah.
Correct? So there wasn't enough of things.
Yeah.
So the rebuild to a house, if it used to be $2.50 per square footage, now might have been $4.
Well, I remember lumber was tucked in with that because lumber was hitting all-time highs during that same time, and there were shortages.
Lumber was huge. There was just so many things that it had a ripple effect on the insurance industry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, in 2020, a lot of auto claims came down, right? So a lot of people weren't driving. So because of that, the state also mandated for companies to give dividends.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Right. So they said, hey, our customers aren't driving. So you owe them XYZ amount.
Because you'd been billing based on average estimation of miles driven during the year. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
That was a huge thing. So companies paid out billions of dollars back to their policyholders. Mm-hmm. And at that time, of course, that's great news, but then people don't understand the effect that can have on companies.
Right.
Because we had to pay them back for not driving. But when they came back, all of the increases in claims came back, and to rebuild all of these new Teslas, all of these new vehicles that are out there was just super
astronomical.
high.
Yeah.
I mean,
I have real quick. I have a friend who owns a fixed auto shop, and he runs his own spot. And I mean, he's been telling me, costs are up in for parts, some are up 30%, 40%. So, if your replacement cost is higher than totaling a vehicle, well, you're going to still end up taking a loss one way or the other. You're either going to pay out the claim that's 30, 40% higher to rebuild, if you will, or fix or repair.
Or just total loss.
Which then it's a loss on that part.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a lose-lose on that situation too. So, okay, so let's talk specifically about then now kind of where things lie with Farmers and with State Farm, given the state of things with the state, the state of things with the state,
the state of things,
the state of the state.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the state.
So what do you guys? What are the people that are talking to the state? What are they telling them? What are they saying to the state right now? Like, hey, we need you to do X, Y, Z for us so we can stay here. Because I have to imagine the state wants the carriers here. Because I had heard offline that the California Fair Plan is like the third largest insurer in the state, and it was never intended to be. Unless they're actually trying to do that, which I don't think they are, but I also don't.
But then we have conspiracies.
No, not conspiracies. I'm going to say this on camera, though. I just don't discount that California would lean towards some socialism type of programs, which this would be socialized insurance. It basically is that. And also only partial coverage. So before we get in the weeds in that. So let's talk about Farmers specifically, though. What is it that you're aware of that your company's asking for the state of California to consider?
So the specifics on like how they ask for like approvals.
Yeah, what do they need? Like, are they saying, like, hey, give us this 20% one-time jump in premiums, or
The thing we've been doing is making like adjustments. So instead of like closing completely, like for like new business applications, we've just like made adjustments to current policies and the way that they are structured. We are re-underwriting a lot of our policies. And that's throwing a lot of people off because maybe they've had a policy in place for many, many years and they've never been asked for a lot of documentation before. So in theory, maybe they should have asked for, pictures of your vehicle back when you purchased it. So now I'm getting a lot of those requirements for like upcoming renewals.
So like submitting, in real time, send me pictures of your vehicle or the front of your home or your side yard or whatever.
And this is these are policies that are already on the books. So it's like, what do you mean you need my purchase contract from this car I've had for years? So so that's how we're being able to, still be open for like new business and that kind of thing, to already like reassess what we already have and measuring that risk all over again. So that's what we've been doing, and that goes for home policies as well. So, and I know a lot of carriers are doing that too. They are now doing what we call like aerial inspections, so we can see.
Wait, with drones?
No, we like Google Earth.
Oh, okay. I'm like, wait a minute, they're hiring some drone dude out there, and they gotta fly by your backyard.
Now you have to put a policy to ask not to fly over you.
Yeah, I'd like an umbrella policy, a real umbrella over my property, so you can't do Google Earth.
Yeah.
Actual umbrella policy.
So that's like something, technology's now, being used in that way. So what happens is, from that aerial inspection, we can see the condition of the roof. Like if it's if there's like deteriorated shingles, or a lot of what I see is like scattered debris. So there's a lot of people
gosh, like leaves and branches and stuff like that.
No, it's more than that. It's
more
it's like
soccer balls, basketball,
like
bikes,
vehicles.
like maybe like
Wait, did you say bike? A bike on a roof?
Like on the side of.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like the roof of the house. I'm like, why would a bike be on top of the roof? But okay, you do Peloton outside.
No, so for example, what she was referring to is like if they have like a refrigerator.
Yeah, like appliances in the backyard.
Oh,
or like
shoot.
Like if they're hoarders, you know what I mean?
Oh my
like
God, I didn't even think about that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that's an exposure.
But not on the roof.
Not on the roof.
Yeah.
My mind's all about, there's a fridge on the roof now too? The fridge is a Peloton bike?
Yeah.
So imagine just like you looking, know, at that aerial.
Do you know how old that data is though? I mean, when was that taken? I'm not saying like I'm not running cover for people like, oh, they've cleaned their yard since that picture was taken, but like.
So yeah, if that's why we do send them a letter, and then we do give them an opportunity to send us like real time pictures, so we can get that overturned.
Right.
So it's not a definite you're like non-renewed.
Okay, got it.
There is a chance to get that.
Got it.
Reinstated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that renewal being offered, but so a lot of people do get scared when they get the letter. So it is important for them to contact their agent and make sure that there still might be a way that they can get that overturned.
Are you guys doing something similar as well?
No.
Okay, talk to me a little about how you guys are handling the state right now and how you're.
This is great for us because in the insurance industry, and a lot of people are like, you have Farmers and you have State Farm, but in reality, we are an alliance, right? Like we bounce off each other. We're all going through the same stuff, similar stuff, maybe, some changes here and there, but I love hearing, what's happening with Farmers. In the State Farm world, we are still renewing as normal. So anybody who's grandfathered in a policy is still grandfathered in. However, depending on the geographic area that you're in, you might see a price increase, right? And the geographic area changed for many companies. So before, what used to not be considered a high fire area might now be considered just that.
Just due to proximity, you mean, or the entire zip code being called high fire?
The zip code
or
itself.
Both?
The zip code itself. So if you were not in what used to be like a rural area, according to the geographic of your company, you might now be considered that.
Interesting.
And it could be because of the fires that happened, etc. So all of that had an impact. But we're still renewing as normal. We're not asking for anything. However, we are not writing new fire. And when I say new fire, that can fall into different things, right? That's home insurance, that's condos, that's renters, that's business. For us, the term fire is very, very general, right? That's boat insurance. And so those are all the things that we cannot get raw new, what we call. However, we are still renewing and keeping the grandfathered in.
Wow. Okay. And then, so are you looking at pictures on roofs? No, I'm just kidding.
No, not yet. Not yet. But before, when we used to quote things, we would have to take a look at some stuff sometimes. But right now, that's not something that the company is doing as of today. Right now, saying that nothing can change in the future. For all the viewers out there, don't say Claudia said that. This, but
she said
that this no. So as of now, that's not something that's happening with the company. And the same thing in the auto. We're still writing auto. We're still renewing, grandfathering, and still not asking for pictures or anything like that. However, we do have a grace period of 14 days, which a lot of other companies are doing 21, 14. And in the grace period, I just explain it very briefly. It's a relationship, right? The customer wants to know who you are. You want to know who the company is. And it's just 14 days. That's all it is.
And during that time, they can bail without consequence. Is that the offer on the table?
Do not drive. I repeat,
do not drive.
Do not drive.
Do not drive.
I mean, in all reality, I think the best advice that I can give people right now is check your mail.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Check what's coming in. A lot of times, like, well, I never look at my mail. Check that.
Oh, this is an actual problem.
This is
people aren't checking their mail.
People aren't checking their mail.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Because
or they're like paperless and they're not looking at the actual renewal documents.
Because what happens is a lot of these companies were dropping them left and right, right? Non-renewing them, whether it's for your car or your auto, is happening in both areas. And people never realize until maybe a month in, maybe 2 months in, and they call you, and they're just like, frank with just yelling like, oh my God, I don't have insurance. And now you have to tell them, hey, well, I can give you insurance, but I'm 14 days.
Yeah. Oh, and we mailed you 17 times.
And we mailed you 17 times, right? And I have a letter here that they mailed you 20 times. But yeah, that's the best advice that I can give. Watch out for your incoming snail mail, for your emails. I mean, whatever company you're in, just watch out for that.
Okay.
Because they are probably trying to get something to you that's very important. And a lot of times, people are just throwing it out.
Are you having that same problem with people?
100%.
Wow.
There's a lot of things that the companies are requesting that is time sensitive. And if it doesn't get if I don't receive it on time, I can't submit it on time.
Sure.
I have to get approved.
Sure.
So therefore, once it passes a certain date, I can't do anything about it. And then if you want to reinstate,
small problem.
So small problem to have.
About that delay, so that's mostly on auto, no? So there's a delay. Claudia has 14 days.
We have 14 days.
We
yeah.
have 19 days.
So
if your auto policy lapses for whatever reason, maybe you it could be either.
You didn't check your mail as an example.
You didn't check your mail. Or how a lot of people have everything on auto pay and then now there's so much fraud on your card and you got a new card and you forgot to tell your insurance about the new card and then so all that happened.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so that happens and then so let's say that it does lapse. I have to wait 19 days and then it has to go through this new underwriting process where I do need pictures and a bunch of stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and then it's that prior approval that's now being, needed in order to have that policy in place.
Wow.
But you are going to be without insurance for that 19-day period in my case. So yes, definitely don't drive. But
Don't drive.
It happened before. And then also in regards to that, let's say that you want to, you're not notified of all these changes, right? In California, and then you decide that you want to go get a new car. Before you could just go out there and go to the dealership and decide to get that car on the spot. If you don't have another auto policy in place, you can't drive out of the dealership without that.
I didn't even think about that.
Right.
Oh my God. So
it's hard.
So wait. Okay. What's the solution to that scenario? Sorry, I didn't think that one through because I'm not hunting down a new car right now. But I didn't even think about that.
So a lot of people let's say you're a new driver and you want to just
or an old guy who wants a new car.
Or you just didn't have one.
A friend of yours.
Yeah. So you're at the dealership, and before you could just get a policy on the
Right.
spot, they send it to you via email, and you can drive out with your new car. Now that's not possible.
So okay, well, how do you do that then?
I've seen kind of like what the loop has been. A lot of dealerships are doing like a 30-day policy, so at least you can get the car, drive out, and then you have time to get a new, like.
Oh my gosh!
Right.
So they're basically bridging it.
But see,
I'm not sure that's the right word, but
the deal is that when that happens, right, with the 30-day, whatever the dealership has going on, because obviously the dealership needs to make their sales as well, right? They want people
they're trying to sell cars.
They want the people to take the cars. So what I've seen also is that when they put in that policy that they're providing, and I don't know from what company, what party, that I don't know, you have to pay for that. Like, it's not like they're just putting it on there. So on top of all the tire thing, the all of those things that you have when you purchase a car, by the way, I'm not too savvy on that, but all of the things that you have to do to buy a car.
The tire thing.
And don't steal my car thing and all of those stuff. You now have to pay for that 30-day insurance. And it's not going to be your regular insurance. It's going to be that big insurance.
Couple $100 probably.
Yeah, or more. I mean, to insure a vehicle right now, it's
Jeez.
yeah.
What kind of premium increases? I know I'm talking in average. I'm about to ask an averages question. So again, this is not super scientific, everybody. Easy. So give everyone a break here. What on average are you seeing coverage increases for auto policies right now? Like, is it up 10%, 15%, 20%? Like,
I mean, as a state, right, the average as a state, and I can't talk about Farmers or State Farm in particular, but as a state, we've seen maybe 20, and it varies, right? Because you can't say this person's going to be 20, because you guys have to take into consideration that there's a lot of factors that go in when rating your particular vehicle.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people are under the impression, well, this is a newer car. Why is my insurance more expensive? Why is my premium going up? Well, you have to think about what it's going to take to repair that car.
right. Yeah. Replacement cost, repair cost. Yep.
Correct. All of that comes into your zip code is also a factor that goes in. A lot of people don't know that.
For theft and accidents and that kind of thing.
That is correct.
Man,
And
you know what you're not saying? Actuarial tables. You're talking about actuarial kind of stuff right now.
Rule of numbers.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And so that's all that goes into that. And so as a state, and maybe, I don't know if you can correct me if I'm wrong, I've seen maybe 20 maybe.
That's kind of a safe number, maybe.
I think so, but mostly what I've seen it with my book of business is that it's like a case by case, and it does matter, like the area and all that. Of course, like anything in the wildfire zone, that's where I see most of the jump, because most carriers are staying away from that, that risk. So so that's where I've seen like just premiums even like doubling just because of So it's not so much like a percentage. It's just like statistically, what's in your area. But
wow.
And the good thing about Farmers is that even though a lot of carriers are staying away from the wildfire risk, we are able to still provide insurance. So the way that we're able to do it is we split the risk with the California Fair Plan. So I'm able to write what we call a wrap policy. So I'm able to insure the structure, liability, just that type of coverage, and then we split the fire coverage with the California Fair Plan. So those two policies together make up what a regular homeowner's policy
Make
is.
up what would be normally whole coverage.
Yeah.
Got it.
So that's how we were able to do it, and that way, people still have an option rather than just like saying no.
Right.
Yeah, because a lot of carriers are just like, okay, no, like the zip code or this.
They're out.
Yeah, it's they don't do the split thing. It's a definite no. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I'm the no one.
The no one. Yeah, you're like, nope.
We're Ron, no. And it's something that obviously has been tough for agents who can't write any fire product in California, especially because obviously there's a lot of business right now because of all the other companies. But I also understand the importance of why the company does it. I also want to make sure that the name of the good neighbor name is there, right, when you need them. Mm-hmm. And if this is what it takes for the company to be able to be there for their customers, then I say let's do the right thing. Let's continue on the trend to make sure that we push towards the state so that the state can do the right thing by companies. Because you have to understand, this is a California thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Right?
not just a State Farm and Farmers thing. Yeah.
This is a California thing where the commissioner of California pushes back, right? In other states, that's not the case, right? They're commissioners. So in all reality, sometimes it's a politics thing. And then that's when the companies start saying, okay, you have to do something for us.
Well, sure, because there has to be as we're seeing, there's a limit. There's a limit where, hey, if you can't help us here, then we are unable to do this over there. So one of us is going to take the black eye right now, and right now it's going to be, it might be us for a short period of time, but you're also alluding to kind of a longer view perspective of what does it take in the long term to do the right thing by taking this kind of, let's say, less than favorable route right now. That's probably being super nice. I'm being super nice. This sucks.
A stand that the companies are doing to say, right now you think you're doing right by the people of California, but in reality you're hurting.
Do the people feel that way? Have you had anybody call you and say, hey, thank you so much for not renewing me? I'm so glad that you're not giving me coverage on my house or my auto, and it's gone up twice as much. Have you actually fielded a call like that? No.
Never.
No? Okay, yeah.
No, well, and kind of like following up with what Claudia said, the scary thing about that is if at some point, like, insurance companies, think, we can't take on new business, or we can't, still with the increases, we still can't stay solvent, or how like a lot of companies are even like actually leaving California. What will happen if there's no insurance? There's no companies that offer new.
Well, yeah,
policies.
you follow that path down the river long enough, you go down, I'll say downstream, and then what does that end up? What are people left with? Nothing, or my comment earlier, the socialized answer, which is that you get the state insurance, and that's fine for certain things, but it's going to come at an expense. Right. And my understanding is the original intent for state insurance was because there was not already coverage provided by other service carriers or other carriers. And so that's what California Fair came from. And in the property sense, at least in fire, I'm talking about, not just like auto and all that stuff. Right. But that's what Fair was for. And now it's like that's becoming, it's supposed to be the last resort. Right. So it should be like the bottom of the list. And now it's like at the top.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of diminishing returns over the course of time for that.
There is a company out there who is also like, who also goes out there for like the insurance company. So they're kind of like our warriors, right? They're the ones that speak on some of our behalfs,
like,
which is
like Talabi.
It's called PIFPAC, and
it's kind of a cool name.
It's PIFPAC, yeah. And you can become a member as an agent. You become a member. You pay like your monthly payment.
Kind of like a premium.
Yeah, a little premium and a premium, and it now went up through inflation. No, I'm just joking.
My premium's doubled for PIFPAC.
Yeah, so PIFPAC is the ones that go out there and also speaks to the commissioner and says like, hey, this is not right, and pushes and continues to push. And this is why we just got these increases, and again, as a state, for like the first time that we've gotten something approved, several companies, but it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time, and people have to be a part of it too. People have to. There's a full website you can go to, which is a California Insurance, California Department of Insurance.
Department of Insurance.
The California Department of Insurance. That's where you're going to go, and you can actually go on there, submit, your
complaint. I'll say complaint. I'll say it.
Yeah, you can submit. You can submit
feedback.
Your feedback and how you feel about the situation, so that you guys can be heard too. Because, the rates going up is also because you have no more options, right?
Well, you're either squeezed out by not having insurance options or having to combine parts ABC over here, Fair Plan over there. Right. But again, that's only until that is discontinued. Not that it would be. I'm saying if there's a threshold for your company specifically, then maybe there's a threshold where they go, no, we're not doing that anymore either. And then now people are left with no option. Or, and this is, I guess we're already segueing into this other part of the show. I was going to ask you both, like, where do you think this is going? Because at some point, something's going to have to be done to entice State Farm back, to entice farmers to come back and do that. And part of that is then going to still be the fight you have to fight on the ground of, can people afford the premiums? And, we see it here because when we're running numbers for people getting qualified, part of that includes their insurance payment every month. And when that insurance payment every month used to be $80, $85, $90, and now it's $300,
Right.
that completely changes their total amount, their total housing expense monthly.
Exactly.
So their monthly housing expense might be pushing them out of approvability or reducing the amount they are approved for on paper strictly because of the premium price.
Yeah.
So, it's a problem on our side for one thing in lending. It's a problem for yours on another in writing new policies.
Yeah.
What do you think it's going to take to get to state to where it needs to be? And based on your opinion, what do you think needs to happen next so that we can get all of the stuff we've lost in, let's say, the last 12 months? How can we get that back?
Well, I think that, like Claudia said, like going to the website and having people actually put their feedback will help, because the scary part about carriers not being able to insure in California is that they could out-of-state companies can come into the state and offer their insurance without being regulated by the insurance. The
Oh, I
Department
didn't
of
know that.
Insurance,
Okay.
And they could put whatever premium they want. See, because that will be the only option.
So they can come and compete in our territory, if you will.
like the non-standard or like.
So they can compete while also not being regulated by the insurance commissioner. Okay, so hold on though. Isn't that a great business opportunity for an insurance company? But you're saying there's a risk to the person who's carrying the policy, maybe.
Well, yeah, because the premium could be,
Well, but I don't have to pay the premium. If I don't want to buy the policy, I don't have to buy it, right?
What do you mean?
Like if I'm being offered a policy by an out-of-state carrier who's not regulated by the insurance commissioner, I can say no.
You can say no, but who will insure you if all the carriers?
Okay, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. So the little question I know people are going to be asking is like, well, shoot, I'll just go and get that right. But you can still say no, but then you're still stuck with maybe not an option at all.
And you also have to think about this: if you're still paying your house, right? If you still have a loan against your home, the banks that gave you their loan
Has to be insured.
Not only that, but the bank are sometimes anal as to what companies you have
Sure.
as insurance. So if you are not the type of A and you are a type B, some banks will say negative. You can't go out and get this insurance. Your insurance needs to reflect this. So no, that's not an option for a lot of people.
Right.
Because of their banks too. So you have to take that into consideration. Like banks will say no.
So there's some barriers even in that. So there's some barriers to
they'll
even
want
being
like
out
an
of.
A-rated carrier.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can't get an A-rated. You can't be an A-rated carrier unless you're probably regulated by the Department of Insurance.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Non-regulated, B+ only. That's your
Yeah.
highest mark.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, and
So
you
they're
guys-
boxed in too.
And you can go on the websites too, and you can see what companies are rated where. That's something that's out there for the public. Maybe people don't know that. But yeah, all of that information you can pull out for yourself as a consumer.
Okay, so what do you think is going to take to get State Farm back? What do you think it's going to take from the state of? What do they need to see from the state of California? In your opinion, I know you can't. I am asking you a crystal ball question. Like look into
Yeah.
the future. What do you think it's going to take to get them back?
Definitely the rates.
The rates. Okay.
We have to. I know that maybe viewers aren't going to be so happy for me to say that, but it has to come to the reality of things. There's been so many losses in the state and so many years that the insurance company never got the correct rating because it was pushed back for so many years. And again, that's not the people's problem. That was more of the state that didn't have the processes or procedures in place at that time. And now we are where we're
here.
at because of things like that. But I'm hopeful and I know State Farm's a big company. They're going to come back eventually, but they're also going to push back so that the state does the right thing. So that, again, the state can continue to do what it has to do.
What do you think on the farmer side? What do you think it's going to take for them to bring back fire?
Well, I'm still doing fire, but
Well, through fair though, right?
well, that's for people that actually in the wildfire.
Oh, okay,
zone.
got it. Okay, I understand.
Yeah,
Got
like
it.
a regular, single family dwelling. In
Got it. Okay.
normal
Sorry,
zone.
I misheard you.
Yeah, so that's still, I can still do those, no problem. But kind of like I think a good recommendation for people is to, yes, check your mail, check if your insurance company needs anything from you and make sure that it's done on a timely manner. And also what I've seen is that they want people to have like pride of ownership, like make sure that your home is well kept, make sure you're, they'll look at every little thing. So just don't wait for the insurance company to tell you what you should already be doing to, keep your home in a good,
Decent
state.
shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, for example, a roof should be replaced every like 30 years. So try to like do that before the insurance actually sees that, you know, because once they see it, you might only have like a month to show them that you actually did it. You know, they'll see it like maybe a little bit for renewal. That's when the home is going to get reviewed, like a month or two before renewal date. And at that point, we need it to be done. I need the pictures and I need to submit them, and everything has to be like fast. So if you already kind of know that, my roof needs to, it's not in the best shape, kind of already like try to budget for that before the company actually sees it. Or let's say that you have like very old plumbing. That's also going to be, you know, a big thing now. It's like one of the red flags. I know like for a lot of policies, for my new policies, all the homes that are like 30 years older or more, a new policy will require now, if you haven't replaced your whole plumbing, I need them to have like a automatic water detection device installed.
Oh, what?
And that's a requirement.
If the house is over 30 years old and the piping has not been replaced, you have to have a water detection device attached to your system?
Yes. So it's like a device, and then you can order it on Amazon, and then you could have a...
What does it regulate? What I don't understand.
It'll detect a leak.
Oh, it'll detect a leak?
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Yes, automatic water leak
And
detection system.
then does it like shut off your valve at some point? If it senses there's too much of a leak, it can just shut off the main or something, or at least cap it off.
So that's the way that we're being able to.
Oh my god.
It's
this
one
is
of the
all.
new things.
This is also wild to me.
Yeah, and they're changing constantly. So before, so now it's like, that's why it's good that you're kept in the loop of all these changes that are going on, especially if you're buying a new home. Don't wait till the last minute to get insurance or try to get like that quote, because now there's so much that, you know, it has to be done prior to. Well,
that, I know even getting declaration pages back, it's not the same day or 24 hours anymore. It's like weeks, right?
Well, yeah, and especially if it's something with the California Fair Plan, because they're
backlogged. They're doing 1,000 a day or something crazy like that.
I think it's like 30-day wait period for them to
30
get
days?
back.
They changed their platform like around December. So now that new portal, all the changes, like even if it's like a little endorsement, takes about like a month or so just to get that declaration page back.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, oh man. Oh, okay. So I mean, I know I've been hearing stories upstairs with the guys like, oh my gosh, we're waiting on insurance. I knew kind of some of the backstory, but I kind of coupling that with, knowing that California Fair has just been exploded in volume. It's clearly a demand problem. The demand is there because it's there. It's a problem because California Fair was not built for that. Your companies, and I'll say other agencies at large, are all built for that, because all those, let's say 1,000 policies a day could be spread across the entire state's service providers and not be like log jamming any one person, but it's doing it for California Fair. That's crazy.
And you have to remember, when it was built, or created, it was as a last resort. So there's a lot of coverages that might not be there when it comes to California Fair Plan. So it's not like the best packet, right? Yeah. It's not going to be what's going to give you all the coverages that you need on a regular home insurance. I, as a State Farm agent, I offer California Fair Plan, so I can go on the website, I can do it myself. However, again, this is the last resort. This is if nobody else is taking them, which it happens more often than we'd like now.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so we've done a healthy portion of like, here's what's happening, here's what's not happening anymore, here's why it's not happening. If consumers are interested in, let's say, joining the fight, if you will, they need to go to the departmentofinsurance.com or probably .gov or something like that.
Yeah, so California Department of Insurance, you'll be able to see news as to what's happening with the state, and you'll be able to see if you need to include...
File a complaint.
Yeah, if you need to put a feedback, or all of those things will be on there.
I'm willing to bet there's not like a big button that says click here to file a complaint now. Scroll and find it, and click that thing and make a comment
somewhere on there.
Or as Irune said, give them some feedback. I will say it. File a complaint. Let's talk then before we wrap up. I want to give you both a chance to talk about what are some things you are optimistic about, some things that you're looking at or you're doing right now that's really helping people. I know that it's been very difficult for property and casualty specifically. Into 2023 and then of 2024, obviously, is some massive changes that have happened on the industry agency level, and then of course at the state.
Yeah.
And none of which I'm honestly optimistic myself are going to be fixed in any relatively quick time. They just aren't when it comes to this level of problem
Right.
at this scale and with the powers
With
that
all
be.
these years.
This is going to take a while. And even decisions, let's say, approved now, by the time they're enacted, might still be another 12, 18, 24 months. So we could have a decision on the desk tomorrow to do ABC, and it might not be an emergency provision
It's
that
not going to show.
flips right away.
Right.
It's going to happen over here in the timeline much, much later. So let's change the tone and talk about what are the things you are excited about right now
Yeah.
in the insurance world. What is it you're really getting a lot of gratification from? What are some products and services you're offering that
Yeah.
are helping people despite being maybe unable to help them over here in this part of their life? What are some cool things you're doing right now to help people in other parts of their life with insurance?
So when we first began the podcast today, you mentioned PNC being a big part of State Farm, but what a lot of people don't know is the company also offers life insurance and supplemental health insurance. And so right now what I'm doing is I'm talking to all my existing customers. Not that I wasn't doing it before, but it is something that we're bringing to the, sharing up to the light a little bit more, is we offer permanent and term insurance for life. And then we also offer supplemental health insurance that's Medicare supplement, and then another type of supplement for everyone. We're also now in alliance with US Bank. So my office does credit cards, debit cards. The alliance is with local US Bank. Everything that the bank can do, we can do, but sometimes you get some special promotions within our agency. And we also have an alliance with something called Lightstream, which is a different bank. We can do loans for vehicles, refinancing of loans, give you personal loans.
Whoa.
So if you are thinking of getting married,
Interesting.
if you're thinking of rebuilding your house, if you're thinking of, whatever it is that comes to mind at this point, you can go ahead and get loans through us.
Wow. Okay, I don't think I knew that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what kinds of things are you seeing? Well, you're mentioning a couple already. Like, are you seeing some specific instances where people are trying to do something over here and they're using it for that purpose?
Yeah. So our credit cards, if you pay your credit card for your insurance, we have a 5% cash back. So a lot of people are jumping on that.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a 0% interest for 18 months on one of them. I've seen a lot of rebuilding of homes because it's between, I believe, $30,000 and $100,000 for that personal loan that you can get. And then we are going into a lot of the life insurance things. People are liking the fact that, if you have a mortgage, you can get a mortgage protection within the insurance. So those are things on the positive note that my agency is trying to work towards. And we continue to market, we continue to speak to all of our customers, letting them hey, this is available to you all, right? Take advantage to have everything with me. If you're already an existing customer or if you're a new customer, you can have everything with me with the exception of XYZ at the moment. Wow,
that's awesome. You also seem pretty excited about that too.
I am. For me, life insurance is a big thing. The company has done well when it comes to the life and the health part, and I believe in it. I've seen what it can do for families, and it's a little different than selling PNC. PNC is a transactional thing, right? Health and life, I'm really touching someone, right? We're talking about other things, we're talking about family, and it's not a product you can touch. It's an emotion that conveys. And I'm a very emotional person, and I can really speak to that. And so it's important to have life insurance.
Got it. Awesome. Good. Thank you for sharing all that.
Are you also doing car loans?
Yes, we're doing car loans.
Yeah, I was aware of that.
That's awesome. So how about you? What's something that's really kind of inspiring you right now, or that you're encouraged by that you're able to still do with farmers?
Well, yeah, farmers, I'm glad to say that we're still, doing most of our lines of business. And we are focusing a little bit more on, life and commercial. So we're still able to offer that type of product. And yes, I think that our jobs as insurance agents, it's who you'll have that conversation with about, life, because you're not going to talk about that most likely with your tax person or, so it's kind of our job to make them aware of, that that's something that needs to be discussed. And I think that's also something that COVID showed us, how unpredictable, life could be. So, so I think that it's a good time to kind of like, if you haven't talked to your agent about, life insurance, definitely try to get something that's within your budget, but have something in place, even if it's like a little policy.
Having something better than nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That goes a long way.
Yeah. So what is, so at this point though, is there something that maybe we didn't discuss yet that you came ready to talk about and share with me? Anything I didn't answer or anything I didn't ask you yet that you wanted to answer? Did we cover everything so far?
No, I think we covered everything. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to come out to discuss this. And like you said, it wasn't all bad news. At the end of the day, there's a lot of other things that your insurance agent can still do for you, such as reviewing your policies. If your policy goes up, don't be discouraged by it. Call your agent. This is why it's so important to have an actual physical agent versus a 1-800 number. Not saying anything bad about 1-800 numbers. However, having a physical agent, we're a phone call away. We can review the policy with you. There's still a light at the end of the tunnel. If your policy goes up, there's still ways that we can help manage those increases. It could be by discounts that maybe you're not taking advantage of. It could be by maybe other products that you weren't aware that could give you a specific discount. So speak to your agent. I guess that's the moral of the story.
Yeah, so maybe be proactive. So if you're watching this, you have not talked to your agent in quite a while, call your agent, email your agent. If you don't have one, there's two right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Call somebody. And then maybe another helpful hint, this just came upon me. You tell me if it's a crap idea or not. But look at when your expiration dates are on your policy, and then make a reminder a month or two ahead of time to start asking questions and find out, hey, what do I need to know that's going to change my policy, or what should I maybe be preparing for, so that you're doing that in advance, proactively. Side show note: make a calendar note for old Andy over there too. So
yeah. I mean, look at your renewals. And as an office, what I'm doing, as a matter of fact, is I'm texting people. One of my team members, shout out to Jenny, she texts our customers and lets them know, like, hey, your renewal is coming. You need to take a look at it.
Oh, that's smart.
Because things have changed, right? And at one point I was like, man, do we really want to do that? But in reality, is we want to do that. That's why I'm here. That's why you have me or you have your farmer's agent, because we have the availability to do those things.
Yeah.
And kind of like also like a little bit of what Claudia's saying, the difference of having an agent is that you could get assessed differently, like in regards to like what to do and what to do, like in like a claim, for example. So I think a lot of people, so like let's say now they're looking at the risk and they're like, non-renewing you, etc. A little bit of like what would be something to consider before making a claim. Call your agent, ask them if it merits a claim or not, because what will happen if you call and make the claim and it turns out that it's not even covered, it's gonna stay on your loss history.
That's gonna be there.
What people don't understand is that home insurance is different than auto insurance.
Right.
Home insurance, if you make the claim, even if it's zero paid out, it's there. And if you have two of those that you think were an inquiry because you directly call the claims department, they're not allowed to tell you yes, it's covered or not. They're going to actually make the claim and it's going to be there.
So you could be self-sabotaging pretty easily.
Absolutely.
Accidentally.
And if you call your agent, you can tell them this is what happened, and we'll tell you based on our experience, I wouldn't make a claim for that,
or call a mitigation
to
come out.
I didn't think about that.
And assess the risk before actually submitting it, because you could. What do you mean I'm getting non-renewed because I have these two claims? Because
I don't have any claims. No, you asked twice.
Right, you asked twice.
Even if it's
don't
zero
ask.
paid, they're still looking at maybe something's going on with that property.
Oh, wow.
So you kind of raise that red flag,
shoot.
It's like 2 water claims in the past, 5 years. Even if it's zero paid, they know something's going on with your pipes, no?
Wow.
So that's a good thing to keep in mind before that, the benefit of having an agent that can kind of guide through what
advice
to do. And also we had those recent storms,
the floods,
where a lot of people were affected. So also talk to your agent about that, because a lot of people don't understand that flood insurance is not automatically covered by your regular homeowner's insurance.
That was a really tough week.
It was so tough. It's the first time
a lot of people don't know that.
I've had to tell people they were not covered because they've had a policy for years, which was inherited to me, and And they just like assumed. A lot of people assume a lot of things about insurance. So this is the time to ask questions to your agent.
Yeah.
That's a great point. I didn't even think about talking about the floods today.
Yeah.
No, just like briefly, just make sure that you understand that that's not automatically covered.
Nor is earthquake.
Nor is earthquake. So those are totally optional.
Remember where we live, San Andrea.
We're right. California has that fault. So so it's optional, but definitely consider it because, when something happens, there's not a whole lot we can do, no matter how upset or how much we even want to try.
I know.
Yeah, and going back to...
if you can't, you can't.
Going back to when I said I'm a very emotional person, that week was not only hard for the customer, but it was hard for us as agents as well. We understand that your home might be one of your biggest assets, right? We understand how much love, hard work, dedication went into having that, and for it to be taken from you for not having a flood insurance is... it was devastating.
Devastating, yeah.
And it wasn't that, my agent didn't offer it to me. It's, you have to understand what happened in this flood. And that's a whole another topic.
That's a whole different topic.
We'll do another podcast on this one. But what happened had never been seen before. Right. And it wasn't that people were asking for flood insurance left and right. Who would have thought of getting a flood insurance in specific areas? Correct.
Right.
And so it was very devastating to see that. And, you had customers crying on the phone and you cried with some. And at the end of the day, we are all human and we all feel for you. And that's the difference. You have an agent who genuinely will care.
Wow. That is really awesome. I'm so grateful that you both could take time to come and have this somewhat difficult conversation. I know this has not been like the most bubbly and easiest topic to tackle today, but I intentionally invited both of you because I knew we could actually sit here at this table and have an honest conversation about how this impacts people and like really what's going on. Because I can't think of a time. Mortgage Heroes in our family business, we've been around for 18 years. I cannot think of a single time that we have had overheard so much just general conversation about insurance.
Yeah.
In 18 years of doing lending is, yes, it's always part of our conversation with people because we have to provide a deck page for them to get their loan done, right? But outside of the loan process, I'm hearing about insurance all the time.
Yeah.
And I have not in my adult life heard about insurance all the time. And it is being talked about constantly. It is one of the primary problems happening in people's personal financial lives, and those who are choosing to talk about it are doing it very audibly and doing it very loudly. So thank you for being willing to stick your neck out and come on the show with me and talk about these things. I know it's not easy. You're representing yourself. You're also representing your agency and your team and all your referral partners and the network of people that love you and care for you. So thank you for doing that with me today. What is the best way, if anyone has specific questions, if they're watching and they are a State Farm policy holder, they're a Farmers policy holder, how is the best way for them to reach you?
You can follow us on Instagram. It's Claudia Alarcon State Farm Agent. Mm-hmm. The same as our Facebook is Claudia Alarcon State Farm Agent, and our website, which is www.alarconsf.com.
Okay, I'll have all that in the description box. And how about you, Irune?
You can Google me. I'm in the La Mesa area. My office is near the 125 and the 94. Mm-hmm. And Irune Belaza, Farmers Agent. And you can also Instagram Balaza Farmers Agency.
Awesome.
And yeah.
Excellent. I'll have all that in the description box as well. Thank you so much, both of you, for being here. I really appreciate your dedication and your time. Thank you for answering all the questions and being, really just raw and honest about it. And, I know it's difficult. I just want to encourage you. You're doing a really good job for people. I know it's difficult every single day, and the phone's ringing every day, and people are having their own moments of learning bad news on the other end of that line. So please keep up all the great work. And then to our audience, all of you who have watched now another conversation about insurance with us, just hang in there and ask good questions. If you are out of the area, you're watching and you're out of California, please contact your insurance agency directly and ask the questions you need to ask about your policy and what things you might need to be aware of on the horizon. And then take a look at your policies. I think the takeaway is check your mail, number one. Check your mail and then read the mail.
Right.
Check your mail.
Don't just open
bring it in the house, open it, then read it. And then ask questions to follow up. If you don't have flood insurance and you need flood insurance, find it. If you don't have earthquake insurance and you need earthquake insurance, get it.
Yeah.
If you don't have life insurance, just start asking those questions. Look at your auto policy. Do all the things for the benefit of yourself, because as we discovered today, there are a lot of things changing in this environment and they may not all be in your favor. And so therefore you need to take a little bit of personal agency. I'm going to advocate. Take some personal agency, do yourself a favor, look at your policies and ask great questions.
Yeah,
So.
and if your company offers an app, download that app.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
All
also
right.
be very patient, because there's a lot of things that don't have a quick solution. So there's a lot of
that's
things
good.
that require like for us to like do some research, or try to contact our own departments to get things like overturned, or so just kind of like work with your agent and be patient, because there's a lot of things that are out of our control, and we're definitely trying to like help you out, but you also have to understand that it's not like us personally
Right.
like saying like I'm not renewing you,
Right.
or
Yeah,
so.
you might not have the answer or the solution at your fingertips
Yeah,
right
it's
away.
not like, it's nothing like it's been before.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and-
That's a good point. Yeah. Great. Well, thank you both again very much for your time and your wealth of knowledge sharing today. And thank you all for watching Friends of Mortgage Heroes. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like this video, share this with people you know, love, and trust. And if you are not yet following our other playlist for the Mortgage Heroes Weekly Podcast with William, Brian, and myself, go ahead and check that out, where you hear all about the latest that from our seat at the table when it comes to the industry, the marketplace, and what's going on in real estate and mortgage. And thank you so much again for following the Friends of Mortgage Heroes, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you.